Algebra word problems number 3. Solve word problems with one variable. We've been reading and writing the algebraic word problems, but now we're going to really start solving them. So we need a strategy. We need to read the problem carefully. We need to underline or circle the important parts. We need to make a plan to solve the problem. Which operation are we going to use? Are we going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? How are we going to use the information? And we're going to turn the unknown amounts into variables that make sense. So if it's length, we can use an L for the variable, and if it's width, we can use a W. We're going to make a table or a diagram to figure out what we need to do if it's confusing. A drawing may help us. We're going to write out our equation, we're going to find the solution, then we're going to check it by plugging it into our answer. So remember, this number in front of a variable is a coefficient, and then that alphabet is a variable. It takes the place of an unknown number. All right, so here's our first word problem. Bob and Dave are going fishing, and Bob owns the boat, so they both decided that he would get 5 more fish than Dave. If the total catch is 19 fish, how many fish will they each get? So we got to think. All right, Bob owns the boat, and they decided that because of that, I guess because of the gas and everything, that he's going to get 5 more fish than Dave. I guess there's dock fees and all of that stuff too, right? Licensing. So think, they're going to split up the total amount of the catch by giving Bob 5 more than Dave. So Bob is equal to Dave plus 5. Because whatever Dave has, Bob is going to get 5 more. So Bob is Dave plus 5. If the total caught is 19, let's figure this out. We'll let Dave, the guy without the boat, be X. And Bob will be X plus 5. See? Just like Dave plus 5, he's X plus 5. So, we have X as one guy and X plus 5 as the other guy, and it equals 19. So, what we really have is 2X plus 5. See that? So what we're going to do is we're going to remove 5 from each side, and this is going to make a 0 pair and cancel each other out. So we're going to be left with 2x equals 14, because 19 take away 5 is 14. See that? Now we're going to try to get x isolated by itself to solve this problem by dividing 2 by each side, okay, on each side. 2 divided by 2 is 1, And remember, when there's a 1 in front of a variable, we don't put the 1. We just know that there's 1x there. We don't need a 1 in front of us to tell us that there's 1x there. We can see it's 1x. We don't start putting a number in front of it until there's a 2 or more. All right, so 2 over 2 is equal to 1, so that means there's just x. 14 divided by 2 is 7, so now we know x equals 7. So now let's plug it in. That means Dave got 7, and Bob is x plus 5, 7 plus 5, so that means Bob got 12. Yeah, 7 plus 12 is 19. We got it right. All right, let's try this one. If we multiply the square of a number n by 5 and then add 4 to the product, the sum is equal to 49. So think. It says multiply the square of a number. So square of a number is going to be n squared. We're going to multiply it by 5 gives us 5n squared. All right? It says then add 4 to the product. That gives us a plus 4 in the back, because we're going to add 4 to this. Now we have 5n squared plus 4. It says it's equal to 49. So now we've got 5n squared plus 4 equals 49. So we have to get n by itself, right? The n squared has got to be all by itself on one side of the equal sign and be isolated from anything else so that we can solve it. So to create 0 pairs, plus 4, we put minus 4 on both sides of the equal sign. And then that will cancel these out, and we'll be left with 5n squared equals 45. Now to get rid of the 5, we're going to divide by 5. Because this was addition, we got rid of it by using subtraction. See? We subtracted on each side. 5n means 5 multiply. So now the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to use 5 divided by 5 to get rid of this one. Then we just end up with n squared. Okay? Just like over here we ended up with just x. Now we have just n squared equals 45. Equals 9, I'm sorry. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So now we think to ourselves, okay, n squared means n times n. All right, so there's no negative or positive numbers here, so it must be positive. What positive number times another positive number equals 9? Well, 3 does. So let's plug it in and see if it works. 5 times 3 squared plus 4. That means 5 times 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, plus 4. Well, 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 is 49. Perfect. All right, let's try the last one. Emma had $35 from raking 4 lawns. She charged X dollars to 3 customers and half price to her elderly neighbor. How much did she charge each customer? All right, there were 4 lawns, but we can't divide 35 by 4 because one lawn was done at half price to the elderly neighbor. See that? So she charged 3 customers X amount and the elderly neighbor half X. Do you see how I got that? They were the full X amounts, and this one half price was half of an X amount. See? So now we have 3X plus a half X. That means we have 3.5 X. And that equals 35. So let's change the fraction to a decimal to make our lives easier. So instead of 3.5, let's do 3.5X, because now we can divide easier, okay? 3.5 divided by 3.5, and remember, we're using division to get rid of this and get the x by itself, because 3.5x means 3.5 times x. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So in order to get rid of this 3.5 right here and get the x by itself, we need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division, okay? So now we're dividing both sides by 3.5. 3.5 divided by 3.5, that means just 1. So now we have 1x here. Okay? And like I said before over there, when we have 1x, we don't need a 1 in front of it to tell us that there's just 1x there. We can see there's 1x there. We don't put a number in front of it unless it's 2 or more, right? So we know there's 1x. All right, 35 divided by 3.5 is 10. Now here's what happened. We did 3.5 goes into 35, but we had to move the decimal point in order to do the long division. Do you remember this from 4th and 5th grade? Dividing decimals with long division? What you do is you take the decimal point and put it in the back here. And because we did that, we need to do the same thing for the dividend. We need to move the decimal point from behind the 5 over to here. So we've got to put a 0 there as a placeholder. So now we got 35 goes into 350. Well, that's 10. Because 35 goes into 35 once. We drop the 0. 35 goes into 0 times. That gave us 10. So now let's check it out. That means 3.5 times 10 equals 35. That's right. So, how much did she charge each customer? She charged $10, $10, $10, and $5, didn't she? So now we know. All right, wasn't it nice of her to charge the elderly customer half price? So I hope that these are going to give you some tools to solve more algebraic expressions and word problems, okay? I hope this is helping. And I'll see you next video. Bye.